Good morning, YouTube. This is Don V with Truth Be Told, broadcasting under beautiful 85, 86 degree weather here in Arizona, and we have some interesting stories for everyone today. So without ado, let's go ahead and move right to them. Okay, the first story of the day, it says Pension Bailout Agency flagged for contract bribery, fraud, and payments to dead Americans. You know, it's really amazing to me just how far this corruption has moved. It's in our pensions, it's in our federal governments, moved down to a lot of the state governments. It's just getting ridiculous. Anyway, the story says Inspector General also reported several cases of theft inside the PBGC, which got its first ever infusion of tax dollars earlier this year. This week's Golden Horseshoe Award goes to the Pension Benefit Guarantee Corp, the nation's pension bailout agency that is still reeling from revelations its chief of contracting engaged in a bribery scheme that steered $4.8 million in fraudulent business to a vendor in return for more than $1 million in personal benefits. The bribery scheme involving the now convicted director of PBGC procurement department was possible because the agency suffered from several vulnerabilities, including reduced competition among vendors, missing legal reviews, and sole source contracts that evaded bidding designed to get taxpayers the best bargain, the PBGC's Inspector General reported. His actions were enabled by internal control weaknesses, specifically inadequate oversight of the PD procurements and a lack of a control mechanism to ensure the PD sent all requisite contract actions for legal review, the Inspector General reported. Although PBGC began requiring that more contracts actions received legal review after PD director resigned in February 2020, it does not have a mechanism to ensure PD complies with this requirement. Internal watchdog said it also found internal control deficiencies allowed PD to avoid competition requirements when awarding 5 other contracts, 3 of which were for PD support. 4 of the contracts were awarded on a sole source basis, including 3 using small businesses set-aside programs. The weaknesses are particularly concerning because PBGC, which normally funds itself through insurance payments from employer pension plans, just received its first ever infusion of tax dollars to replenish coffers that were on track to be insolvent by 2026, the IG noted. I'm not saying that word. Biden signed the American Rescue Plan Act in March that provides more than $86 billion in special finance assistance to bail out financially troubled plans in PBGC's multi-employer program. The multi-employer special finance assistance that PBGC will receive from the Department of Treasury will be the first time in the history of the PBGC that the corporation will receive taxpayer funds, the IG noted. Our office is committed to protecting tax dollars and will continue to aggressively protect the integrity of the multi-employer program. The agency procurement director over a 2-year period solicited and received cash payments and other items of value from a contractor when the official steered PBGC contracts valued at $4.8 million to that company. The company also promised the director a $1 million job, according to a watchdog semi-annual report. Watchdog also reported several cases of theft of PBGC funds, including an Ohio woman who allegedly stole the identity of a 72-year-old PBGC participant and had his funds redirected to her bank account. A Washington woman who fraudulently collected her mother's PBGC pension benefits after her passing on March 2, 2011. A Philadelphia woman also pled guilty to thefts of funds after a PBGC participant died in 2011. She collected $133,000 in Social Security Administration benefits and $1,600 in PBGC benefits for 8 years. My word, my word. What is this country coming to? Okay, guys, I just want to bring in just a little break here. I need everyone that watches this video to subscribe. If you don't want to see my videos all the time, just click on the bell that says no notifications. But I need the subscribers. This channel's been only going for a couple of weeks, and I'm learning how to do this all by myself. Uh, and I supply all my own equipment. I build my own equipment, and this computer I'm using right here, I built myself. A very powerful 10-core Intel i9 processor. At any rate, if you would please subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. We're trying to just grow this movement, and I don't make a dime off from this. So it's all about getting the information out, and hope you guys enjoy it. At any rate, I ran across a quick video from Q on Out of Darkness. He's got a little bit of alleged information here that's really interesting that's going on in my state here in Arizona. And why don't we just go ahead and move right on to it?
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Out of the Darkness. I am Q. So I have to make you guys laugh a little bit because I'm certainly getting my 15 hee-haws in. So if you guys have been following me or following any of this, you guys know that lately we have been facing some major blowback in Maricopa County as it relates to the Senate subpoenas and them not wanting to turn over the routers. Well, one of the pivotal individuals involved in deciding not to turn over the routers was the Maricopa County sheriff. Okay, he gave us this crazy idea, or this crazy excuse that by handing over the routers used for the election officials, or used for the election, that would somehow compromise information that was stored for legal cases and for the Justice Department. Now, I'm not sure why the same routers would be used or any of that, but I digress. Okay, so now we are finally starting to see these people who have wrecked homes, who have wrecked communities of color. Now I'm going somewhere with this, and you guys are going to laugh here in a second, but we've seen these people completely destroy the fabric of America in unity by attempting to set black against white, gay versus straight, old versus young, male versus female. We've seen them stand on their high horse and talk about how conservatives hate black people and how conservatives hate people of color. Well, now we find out that this man, who was backed by George Soros in 2016, talking about the sheriff of Maricopa County, that he has a long history of not abiding by judges' orders, or by orders. He thinks he's above the law. But why wouldn't he think he's above the law? He's backed by George Soros. He is a Democrat. Democrats are above the law, so he thought. Now he is facing contempt charges, y'all. He is facing contempt charges for not turning over information that the judge ordered for him. So Judge Snow from the U.S. District Court down there in Maricopa County, he is being charged for not turning that information over. The judge is not having it anymore. And I think it's fantastic, but it gets better. It gets better. I promise you guys a chuckle. The reason why he is being charged is because he refuses to turn over information from doing an investigation on his own sheriff's department, and because there were a lot of accusations made and a lawsuit brought about racial profiling. So we have this Soros-backed Democrat sheriff who refuses to get to the bottom of racial profiling. And because he refuses to investigate racial profiling within his own department, he is now facing contempt charges. Hallelujah. I absolutely love it. I say charge him with everything you possibly can. Because until we have an equal justice system where blacks, whites, Hispanics, where Democrat, Republican, that everyone is subject to the same level of rebuke and the same level of penalty for the same crime, we will not have true justice. So I'm glad that justice is coming for this man. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys get as much of a chuckle out of the irony of this whole thing as I did. I want to hear your comments. Make sure you comment below, like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Have a fantastic day.
Wow. That's all I can say is wow. This guy's got it going. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next story. I'm going to make a quick stop here on Real Raw News. It says upcoming military tribunals revised. Good afternoon, readers. Good afternoon, readers. As many as you know, I've been concentrating on reporting on military tribunals currently happening at the Guantanamo Bay Detention Center and now elsewhere. Sources close to number 45 have told Real Raw News that Trump and the U.S. military are working to decapitate the Hydra heads ahead of mass arrests that will sweep the nation. Once Trump is reinaugurated, our sources have said July Independence Day, but Trump himself has given August as the date for his potential return. Okay. I got to be really careful how I word these because I can get another strike and I will be done if that happens. Below is a curtain list of tribunals scheduled to occur in the coming weeks. People's names are believed to be in custody. Huma Abedin, June 7th. Bill Clinton, June 14th. John Boehner, June 17th. William Barr, the 17th. Actor Tom Hanks and wife Rita Wilson, June 21st. Actor Kevin Spacey, June 21st. Dr. Deborah Birx, June 23rd. Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett, June 28th. Former FEMA Director Craig Fugate, June 29th. Former FEMA Director Brooke Long, June 29th. Susan Rice, July 2nd. This list is not all inclusive and will be updated as information becomes available. Moving on. Biden gives a 2-minute generic graduation speech to a class of 2021. He gasps, squints at his teleprompter, and looks lost and slurs words. JB gave a graduation address to a class of 2021 who looked lost and overloaded during the 2-minute speech. It was a shameful presentation. JB recorded a speech to the 2021 graduating class everywhere. This pre-recorded speech looked spliced as Biden stumbled through the 2-minute diatribe. Biden was noticeably gasping for air, squinting at the teleprompter, and slurring his words. It is odd enough that President Biden delivered a generic commencement address to the class of 2021. Every graduate, not a specific graduating class, the speech he read was what can only be described as less than inspiring. Biden tweeted out the commencement address. He delivered it via video produced at the White House. Yeah, right. He turned what should have been a basic address offering up his congratulations to the graduates into a darkish downer kind of speech. Biden was careful to center it around Democratic talking points, of course. You know that's right. He campaigned on bringing Americans back together, yet every time he speaks in public, he intentionally divides listeners. He barely took the time to actually say the word congratulations. In the speech, which lasts for a mere 2 minutes and 46 seconds, Biden opens by saying congratulations and smiles as he does so. Then it goes downhill from there. The smile disappears from his face, and he concentrates on reading the teleprompter. Even in such a short speech, he mumbles and smacks the microphone while gesturing. He wanted to drive home the fact that he thinks the most pressing problem in America is systemic racism. He tossed in mentions of the economy and climate change for good measure. Yeah, what else is new? The graduates are at an inflection point in American history, he told them. He oddly went on to bring in his own grandson graduation, and in the days of the Vietnam War. Blah. This guy makes me ill. Okay, the next story is it's worse than we thought. Fauci and top U.S. doctors caught. They conspired to disqualify HCQ as a COVID treatment. Millions dead as a result. The Gateway Pundit has reported extensively this past year on the effects of HCQ in testing of the COVID-19 virus. HCQ is an antiviral that they use a lot for malaria and other things. We knew that Dr. Tony Fauci and the medical elites conspired to ban the use of this very successful drug. We reported earlier on how Dr. Fauci used bogus studies to disqualify HCQ in treating the coronavirus. As previously reported, it's been over a year since the World Health Organization declared the coronavirus a pandemic after originally downplaying the threat. It's no threat that both the disease and the response to combat it following the SARS-CoV-2 outbreak in late 2019 have turned our world upside down. Mandates, lockdowns, and guidelines seem to change every time Dr. Fauci opens his mouth. All of these unprecedented rules were put into place, we were told, to slow down the spread of the disease that today is linked to the death of over 500,000 alleged victims in America and 3.7 alleged global citizens in the last year. You would think that researchers would have concentrated on prophylactic and therapeutic solutions of this disease, especially since the disease is the death sentence for the elderly, the obese, and those with pre-existing conditions. Coronavirus doctors have forced children to avoid school, mask up, and get vaccinated. One would think that after this time, there would be a consensus in the hospitals and the nursing homes and other treatment centers on how to treat a COVID-positive patient or resident. This is not the case. Cardiologist and professor of medicine Peter McCullough testified in Texas earlier this year that Dr. McCullough sees COVID patients and says 85% of COVID patients given multi-drug treatment plan recovered from the disease with complete immunity. McCullough added the pandemic could have been over by now, he says, and if those who tested positive for COVID had been immediately treated before they fell ill enough to be hospitalized. He also says that thousands could have been and still could be saved if the treatment protocol he and other physicians used were not suppressed. Okay, moving on to the next story. All right. President Trump, Fauci was in the pocket of China. Let's go ahead and play that video. What do you think about that?
Villainize Fauci. Are you villainizing Dr. Fauci, Mr. President?
No, I always got along with him great, but he was wrong on so many fronts. And there's an example. You look at his emails, they're really horrible. He was in the pocket, it would seem. He was in the pocket now, maybe not, but if you look at him, we're all smart people. He was in the pocket of China. The way he pandered to them and the way he dealt with them. And I see, so that's their first salvo on trying to save Fauci. I guess last night Fauci made a trip with the current First Lady, but that's the first salvo in trying to save Fauci. If people read those so many emails, I mean, I've never seen anything like it. You would almost say that's all he could do, because how can you do so many emails? But when people read that, they will agree 100%. It was unfortunate. Now, in our case, we had him, but he was there for many, many years. I got along with him, but I would say that if I listened to him, we would have had hundreds of thousands of more people die, because he said, keep the borders open to China, keep the borders open to Europe. And I closed them very, very early, and we would have lost hundreds of thousands of people. He also said the vaccines would take too long to produce, and I got them done in 9 months, less than 9 months. So, I didn't too much listen to Fauci, unfortunately, or fortunately, I should say. Fortunately for our country, I did what my instincts told me to do, based on a lot of information.
Well, we've got the vaccine virtually, well, more than half the population is now fully vaccinated. Do you
Right.
think that employers should require the jab to go back to work, or schools and universities require the jab before you go back to campus?
Well, I'm a big believer in freedom also. You know, freedom, like you can't force people to do certain things. We are in a position, a lot of people that have had COVID, and, you know, I think you had reported numbers far greater than the actual numbers. A person that I know just told me his father died. I said, oh, that's too bad. What happened? It was a heart attack. But they put down COVID. And I said, what do you mean it was a heart attack? Did he have COVID? No, he didn't have COVID. They put down COVID. So many deaths are reported. This whole thing is, whether it was election fraud or other frauds. But, you know, there are many, many more cases than, if you take a look, and I'm sure you've heard this. You're a professional, to put it mildly. But this was just an interesting conversation I had with somebody that frankly, that I barely know. And they said it was COVID. But I've heard that many times before, many, many times before.
Wow. It really sounds like Dr. Fauci's gotten himself in some hot water here and has been working against the American public. You know he's in trouble when even the fake news networks, including Fox, are going against him. At any rate, I ran across some really good news yesterday. Interesting information. Let's say alleged information. And I'm gonna go ahead and just play a little short excerpt of what this soldier said, and see what you think. Reach your own decisions and leave comments below. Hold on one second.
Hey TikTok, what's going on? So as you can see, I'm in my uniform, and I just got done attending a retirement ceremony for a guy I worked with for a number of years. This gentleman just received a letter of appreciation signed by the United States President, Donald J. Trump. I shit you not, that's exactly what it said on the citation. They read the letter of appreciation, and it said, signed, President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. I don't know what the hell's going on. I've attended literally dozens of retirement ceremonies, and those that receive a letter of appreciation is always signed by the current president. I'm not trying to add fuel to any conspiracy fire. I'm just telling you what I witnessed firsthand. There were a number of people there. Everyone, when that was read out loud, were looking around as confused as I am. If it is what it is, that's awesome.
Well, you heard it here. That's some really good news. If you want to hear some good news, that was definitely it. I don't think that this man has any reason for standing up there and telling a lie, because he said he was as confused as the rest of the military that was there. Okay, so for the last story, we'll go ahead and move on to it. It says, Harbinger, Texas border town with 85% Hispanic population flips red, elects Republican mayor. This could be a sign of the beginning of the biggest red wave this nation has seen since Ronald Reagan. I certainly hope so. McAllen, Texas is a blue city, at least it was yesterday. It officially flipped to red as Javier Villalobos defeated Democratic Veronica Vela Whitaker by a narrow margin in the mayoral runoff election. Despite being safely blue with the huge majority of Hispanic voters, the border town has been one of the many to experience massive human smuggling activities ever since the Democrats took control in Washington, D.C. Illegal immigration was at the heart of the campaigns on both sides. But it is hard for a Democrat to have credibility by opposing illegal immigration when their party is embracing open border policies. For those in cities and states affected by the Democrats' border crisis, this race could be a harbinger for future elections as well as a roadmap for future Republican success. With the economy fading fast after showing signs of recovery in the last few months under Democrat, or well, I don't know where I got Democrat. In the last few months under President Trump, the border crisis will act as a separate reminder of the Democratic Party's failures. Pay attention to McAllen, Texas, the GOP. If opposing open borders in a city with an 85% Hispanic population can resonate, it should be the rallying cry for a red wave in 2022. Well, I guess that's about it, everybody, for the first video of the day. Uh, Sit back and wait, and we'll do another and upload it later on this afternoon. Hope everybody enjoyed today's stories. This is Don V with Truth to Be Told, and we're out of here.